Long time no see, Wubba Bubby here for another look into the catacombs of Reddit. I've tried to make this video quite a few times, but each time I just get sick to my stomach researching today's topic. However, the amount of bleakness and infuriating amount of nihilism from this subreddit keeps me coming back for more, just like a rat. Just like my last video about Reddit's car hate community, barely anyone has made any videos about today's community, but with this one I kinda see why. So without any more interruptions, let me introduce you to r/antinatalism. r/antinatalism with over 200,000 members. This community supports antinatalism, the philosophical belief that having children is unethical. Based on that brief description, you probably scratch your head on how deciding whether or not to have kids was a deep philosophical issue. I don't blame you. However, once you navigate your way to the Antinatalist Guide website, you start to find out why this community is very, very hard to cover. It's not about them believing it's a personal choice to have kids. These chronically online individuals believe that it's morally wrong for anyone to have a child. But you're thinking, how could someone think this way, let alone a whole community? Well, based on me scouring through a lot of their Q&A questions, I'm getting an idea of why. But I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Let's look at a couple gems from these moral grandstanding individuals that wrote this handy guide about antinatalism. Arguments in favor of antinatalism. A. Unborn people don't care about pleasure. Therefore, there is no reason to reproduce since the unborn person does not even deserve life. B. Creating a life that might be positive overall or might not be is not your risk to take, since someone else is suffering the consequences and you never received consent. C. Birthing people mean they will need to work someday via school, a job, emotional labor, paying taxes, etc. There's no way around it without suffering, so they are essentially forced into a social contract without consent. My response to this Reddit spacing sandwich is you spent too much time toking up on black market quote-unquote sneed and being philosophical about not consenting to be born in such a terrible world for Redditors that you should be instead of been that villain from JoJo who was defeated so badly he stopped thinking. Which they also want with all future hypothetical children yet to be born. With all your fancy words and r/anti-work talking points, I just think your so-called ideology is very shallow and an easy way to defend your nihilistic view about overpopulation or whatever the new scare of the week is on the internet. If you thought this couldn't get any more worse, let me introduce you to their more authoritarian takes. Should there be legal consequences / legal action to prevent reproduction? Is it moral/ethical? Some antinatalists may find the idea of banning reproduction or punishing it to be too authoritarian, while others could support it as it can reduce harm. The fact that they're even entertaining this other radical side to this is completely dumb. No Redditor should have a choice of what you do in your personal life, especially when it comes to planning a family. One argument that could be made in favor of it includes how most find it ethical to legalize that word and that word because they prevent people from harming each other. You're comparing it childbirth and bringing life to a planet where you live out life to the two worst things ever. Get offline. I don't know how you can even make this comparison. The next paragraph basically outlines that you can tax people out of having kids. How would this even work in America, first of all? We started a revolution over a tea tax. How would people react nowadays to a tax for having the choice to have a kid? People would go bonkers. Do antinatalists support forced sterilization? Some do, and some don't. My biggest problem is that you're okay to share the boat with these people. It says that it's possible to be an antinatalist without advocating for this, but you still are in the boat with them. You're just as bad as them, in my opinion. If this, for God forbid, ever came to law, which it will never, it wouldn't even be a civil war. It'd be 99% of the civilians would just say, no, and just yeet the other 1% out of office instantly, and life would move on. If I was a key member of this community, if they're part of this Reddit, or just in general a community figure, I would dump these people instantly. Anything with authoritarianism is just going to shy people away from your already lunatic, cult-like philosophy. I never thought it was ever going to get this bad, but here we are. Antinatalists will try to rope anyone into this cult-like following. They have a whole-ass guide on how to indoctrinate people from different political groups and religions. I'll be honest, I highly doubt someone who believes in evil mustache man is really going to switch sides based on a wall of text from someone who believes that not thinking is the way to go for the future of the Caucasian genes. Instead of going through all the indoctrination attempts on specific groups or ideologies, I'll reveal myself a little bit and have some more fun by looking at some texts that are supposed to win me over based on my core beliefs. Wow, maybe I will snip myself after reading these. First impressions are not very good. It's a wall of text. This looks like the side of a bleach bottle. To save the length of this video, which I know it's probably going to be a little bit long, I'm going to look at key highlights from this. It is immoral to create more people in a world that is losing traditional values as a result of globalization, social unrest, questioning of capitalism, the strengthening of big government, and greater acceptance of people that you may find repugnant. So instead of trying to change the world, I should just give up. Okay. Also, the only people I find repugnant are people like you. They might not even agree with you, as people often do not believe what their parents believe. I don't care if my kids don't believe in everything I think. They're still my kids. This is funny that they just think conservatives all the time just want to brainwash their kids. This is just silly. They could also become lazier due to government handouts and socialist policies and no longer value hard work. Wouldn't these policies, by your standard definitions of you being left-wing, end a lot of suffering? So why are you trying to convince conservatives this is a bad thing to join your cause? Wouldn't this end more suffering in the world? A main pillar of your philosophy. The power of the government and widespread propaganda is too great to raising someone in such a terrible environment. As a result, you will have more time, energy, and resources to do so than you would have it if you had a child that might become liberal or even socialist/communist. Maybe with my own time, maybe I do want to raise a family instead of collect Funko Pops instead. I still don't get their fixation that conservatives can't stand their kids becoming a different ideology. I know a lot of families who have kids who have different ideologies to their parents and they still get along. It's completely normal. The fact that you think everyone in the real world is so tribal really shows how terminally online you are. So yeah, this wall of text hasn't changed my damn mind. Shocking, I know. This is the most obvious Redditor trying to be manipulated by pretending to see the other side of the political spectrum and giving a large helping of subtle mockery of conservative ideals. Guess what? You're not that slick, pal. Well, this is the attempt to convert Christians into their ideology. You can pause the video if you want, because my only response to this is a meme. You are literally this smuggy meme. I literally cannot believe life imitates art. If you just scroll down a little bit, they admit it's in writings of old men. They are literally trying to use the Bible, which they don't believe in, against you to do what they want. which is either you becoming a eunuch, jailing pregnant people, or updooting their stupid Reddit post. Speaking of stupid Reddit posts, I can't stand any more of this FAQ. Let's take a peek at some of these gems on this subreddit. Nihilist when people don't want to bring kids into ultra-competitive world ravaged by climate change, crippling diseases, gun violence, threats of nuclear war, etc. Maybe so-called natalists don't see the world this way because they don't use Reddit, or engulfed in culture war political topics. Maybe it's that. Forced to live and in need of money. Dad, I need money. What for? Because you forced me to exist on a planet which requires arbitrary pieces of paper to be exchanged for basic needs. Instantly had a hunch that they were part of the anti-work Reddit. I was wrong. They are, however, a part of the NEAT subreddit. Close enough. So let me guess, you believe in this philosophy because it makes it easier to justify freeloading off of your parents. Wow, literally the pure necessities you are legally forced to provide to your children when you force them into this life. When your kids say, you never buy me anything. Imagine getting salty over a boomer meme from Facebook. Fucking come on. This is nothing but the truth. He's about to say his first words. Fuck you, I never asked to be born in this hellhole. You dragged me into this miserable existence just to satisfy... So much... I'm not gonna read all this crap. I'm pretty sure most people would benefit from actually living life than thinking like a rock. Every single person will die and be forgotten. Every single person. This encapsulates just the average user here, just full of nihilistic views about the world. It doesn't matter at all. It's just full of crap. But no, my relatives in the future might make fun of the way I dress based off old pictures of me. At least I continue my generation to make fun of me. Hey, look, that's me being remembered. I don't care. This is supposed to be a compelling argument. This sucks. The last thing I take issue with is you'll just remember the horrific way they die or how this person's life comes to an end and not it be overshadowing everything else. That's full of crap, and anyone in the real world could tell you multiple stories about past loved ones, remembering them fondly over the years. Yes, I know a lot of people's last days are very, very traumatic. But that's just part of the grieving process when you think about it. You move on and you think about all the more wonderful things you did with this member of your family or friend. That's just how it is. Mother of blank victim seems more upset that her daughter can no longer have kids than her daughter is dead. Oh, I can already tell this is going to make my blood boil. I tried finding the video, but it's long gone. The link's dead, so we're just going to have to read the rest of this. The relevant quote is from the mother of a blank teenage girl who says of her daughter's death, "Gosh, I don't know how to describe that feeling. I'm never going to see my daughter get married or have babies. I'm never going to hold her first child. Maybe I'm just being insensitive, but this was so bizarre to me, and no one in the YouTube comments is talking about it. Gee, I wonder why." How do you have your child blank and talk more about how sad it is they'll never have kids than that they're dead? It's because they are mad that their child will never experience what it's like to have a family, to raise a family, to love them, to cherish them. Maybe this daughter wanted a family. We don't know. You're a scumbag. Her mother is mad that her life was cut short and couldn't experience any of these things. You stupid Redditor. Oh, here we go, a poll that's really relevant to our conversation earlier. Should human procreation be completely outlawed? That's it. That is, should it be made illegal for anyone, even a billionaire, to procreate, and as a result let humans go extinct in 100 to 120 years? Should that be done? With over 343 total votes, 188 people voted yes, 96 voted no, 59 not sure. I really want them to do another poll on a larger size since how much the sub has grown. I want to really see that data of who thinks you should become sterilized, basically. There are a lot more posts in this Reddit, but just a lot of them are just way too long to read. And it just keeps spiraling into a hole of darkness of text. It's just, you feel bad for them a little bit. But then you remember they hate families walking past their window, and you just move on. I think this community mindset ideology, whatever you call it, is being fueled by just the sheer amount of negativity of almost every subreddit. Imagine you're a Redditor for just a moment. Scary, I know. You're center or left-leaning. What does your main page look like? My guess would be US politics, climate change scare post, injustice for a random minority group, poverty in third world countries, big trucks yeeting bicyclists. It would make the world seem like it's completely screwed up. No wonder they would have such a downer look on life, and to be mad at their parents, wrongfully so. I can see the pipeline that would lead them down this. Most of them are so dead set on this idea, I don't think anyone could convince them otherwise that life has a lot to offer. They hate that saying, by the way, including ups and downs. My suggestion is just to be an example for others and just live a good life. It doesn't have to be an extremely good one, just make the best of it. Oh, and also make fun of nihilism. So, that was r/antinatalism. Thank you for watching the video. I actually really appreciate that you watched this full video. I know it's a little long, but I appreciate any viewership no matter what. I, however, know there is a giant overlap with this subreddit and a subreddit called r/childfree, which I am possibly doing in the future, but they're just so similar, might be a few episodes down. But we'll see. I just like talking about subjects that interest me. I hope you make content that interests you too. This is Wubba Bubba signing off again.